Have you ever felt like your future was already written for you, like you were just a character in a story someone else was writing? That's exactly how Maya felt. She lived in a small, quiet town where every day was a perfect copy of the one before. Her family had run the town's only bookstore, the Whispering Page, for generations. And it was understood, without ever being said, that Maya would one day take over. She loved the smell of old paper and the quiet comfort of the shelves, but a part of her yearned for something more, a story of her own that wasn't bound by the town lines. Her grandmother, a woman with eyes that held a universe of stories, seemed to understand it. One rainy afternoon, she handed Maya a small, leather-bound journal. It was empty, save for a single inscription on the first page. "The best stories are the ones we write ourselves." Maya didn't think much of it at first. It was just a notebook. But that night, feeling a familiar restlessness, she picked up a pen. Instead of writing about her day, she wrote about a different Maya, who was a photographer, traveling the world, capturing moments of breathtaking beauty in far-off lands. She wrote about bustling markets in Morocco, the silent majesty of the Northern Lights, the vibrant chaos of Tokyo. With every word, the world she was creating felt more real, more tangible than the predictable life waiting for her. She started spending all her free time with her pen and the journal, pouring her heart into these adventures. The pages filled up, not just with stories, but with feelings, with dreams she hadn't dared to speak aloud. The journal became her secret world, her escape. One day, while dusting off a forgotten corner of the bookstore, she stumbled upon an old, dusty box. Inside was a vintage camera. It wasn't just any camera. It belonged to her grandfather, a man she'd only known through faded photographs. A note was tucked beside it, in her grandmother's familiar handwriting. It read, "He had a dream too." Suddenly, Maya understood it. Her grandfather had also yearned for a world beyond their small town. He had wanted to see the world through a lens. Holding that camera felt like holding a piece of a forgotten dream. It was heavy, solid, real. That night, she didn't just write in her journal. She took the camera and went outside. She started small, capturing the way the moonlight fell on the familiar cobblestone streets, the silhouette of the old oak tree against the dawn sky. She began to see her small town not as a cage, but as a canvas. The ordinary became extraordinary through her lens. She started a blog, posting her photos alongside excerpts from her journal. At first, it was just for herself, a digital version of her secret world. But then, something amazing happened. People started to notice. Comments and messages flowed in from strangers around the globe. They didn't just see pretty pictures. They saw the story behind them. They saw her passion, her longing, her dream taking its first tentative steps into the real world. A travel magazine featured one of her photos, a stunning shot of the sunrise over Miller's Pond, a place she'd seen 1,000 times but never truly looked at before. The feature was a turning point. It wasn't just a compliment, it was a validation. Her dream wasn't just a fantasy scribbled in a notebook. It had power, it had a voice. With a newfound confidence, she applied for a photography scholarship abroad. The application required a portfolio and a personal essay. She knew exactly what to write. She wrote her story, the story of a girl in a small town with a big dream nurtured in the pages of a journal and brought to life through her grandfather's old camera. The day the acceptance email arrived, her hands were shaking. She had been accepted, a full scholarship to study photography in Paris. Paris, a city she had only visited in her imagination. Telling her family was the hardest part. She braced herself for disappointment, for the gentle reminders of her duty to the bookstore. But when she showed her grandmother the email, the old woman simply smiled, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Your grandfather would be so proud," she said softly. "It's time for you to write your own story, my dear." Go her family threw her a farewell party at the Whispering Page. The entire town came, but they didn't see her as someone who was abandoning them, but as someone who was chasing a dream, their town's dream. She stood there, surrounded by the people and the books that had raised her. Maya realized she wasn't leaving her old life behind. She was taking it with her. Every story she'd read, every person she'd known, they were all part of the story she was now writing for herself. Years later, Maya became the photographer she had once only dreamed of being. Her work was featured in galleries around the world, but she never forgot where she came from. She would often return to her small town, her camera always in hand. The Whispering Page was still there, run by her cousin, who loved it just as much as she did. One afternoon, she found a young girl sitting in her old reading corner, looking out the window with a familiar, restless look in her eyes. Maya smiled, walked over, and handed her a small, leather-bound journal. On the first page, she wrote, "The best stories are the ones we write ourselves." Maya's story teaches us that our future isn't a fixed destination. It's a path we create with every choice we make, every dream we dare to chase. Sometimes the first step is as simple as picking up a pen, a camera, or just allowing yourself to imagine a different possibility. It's about finding the courage to turn the page and start writing your own chapter. What story are you going to write? Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it. See you next time.